Okay, if you've never worked with React before, there's a couple different things you can do. There's something called Create React App. I'm going to opt to use Gatsby. I think for this it's the easiest and it's pretty straightforward. If you only know HTML and CSS, you'll have no problem whatsoever following along. JSX looks just like HTML, and the CSS we're going to use style components, so you're going to write the styles the exact same way you would with typical CSS. Anyway, to get any of that working, you need to have Node installed on your machine. So if you go to nodejs.org, you can click on this one. It says recommended for most users. Even if the number is different, don't worry about it. The version may have gone up since I recorded this. You're going to want to click on this, save it, install it, click next right on through. You don't have to do anything special to it, just next, 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 next. When it's done, you will have to restart your computer to get it to fully install on your machine. So once that's done, restart your computer. Then I would highly recommend you come over and get VS Code. That's what I use. I think it's the best editor on the planet, in my opinion. It comes with a lot of extensions that make it really, really easy to use React, Gatsby, anything for that matter. So on this, it's the same thing. You just want to click on it, save it, open it, install it, next, 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 right on through. Again, you don't have to do anything special. Once you have those two, you're all set. Go over to gatsbyjs.org. Just tells you a little bit about Gatsby. You can read it if you want. Click on the documentation. You can go over to Quick Start. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your command prompt. You're going to install the Gatsby CLI, which stands for Command Line Interface. And then once that's installed, we're going to create a new site using the command Gatsby new, and whatever we're going to name it. I'll probably call mine Green or Gsap 1, something along those lines. Once this installs all the dependencies that we need for a Gatsby site to run, we're going to CD into whatever we named it. Like, I'm going to call mine Green, so I'll CD, which means change directory. I'm going to change into it. Well, you know what? I got to do it, so you might as well watch me here. I'm going to use bash. You can, if you use your command prompt, that's fine. I'm not going to put in npm install Gatsby CLI. I already have it. I'm just going to go with Gatsby new, and I'll probably just call it green. I'm going to hit enter. That's going to install all the dependencies and everything I need for a Gatsby site. It's going to take a second. Okay, if you get to this point here and it says CD into Green, it's telling you exactly what you need to do to get this up and going. You should have installed all this. If you see a couple of warnings, just ignore them. So what we want to do here is you want to change directory into that site that we just created, which here would be CD Green, and you can see here that I went into that folder. And then I'm just going to put in code dot, and that's going to pull up VS Code in my app. Let me just stretch this out so you can see the whole thing here. Okay. Well, it comes with a Node modules. This contains all the dependencies and everything that you would find in your package JSON file. These are all the dependencies that Gatsby needs. It also has all the dependencies it needs behind the scenes. Rarely do you ever have to touch this. Sometimes if you put like an animate CSS in there, you might want to go in and change a file, or if you're using Bootstrap React, something along those lines. Sometimes you go in, 99% of the times you just leave that alone. This is our source folder. This contains our app. We have our components, images, pages. Pages are just what they sound like. They're the pages of a website. So in this case, you have an index page, which would be the home page, a page 2, an error page. Gatsby comes in their starter with a header component, an image component, and a layout component. I'll just show you really quick exactly what this is. If you click on terminal, open new terminal, and type in Gatsby develop, hit enter. This is going to start up a development server, and it'll show you the 3 pages that are here in this website, what Gatsby starts with. Another port. I got something running, obviously, of course. This just takes a second or two. Once this opens up, it should say, okay, here you go. You can, well, that's GraphQL. It'll say you can now view the starter at localhost. Mine's at 8001. Yours is going to be at 8000. I have something on my, go to your local host. Mine's already there. Well, no, it's not. I need 8001. Yours is going to be 8000. When you enter that, this is what Gatsby comes with out of the box. You have a header, an image. It shows you a link just to show you that the navigation is there. If you are familiar with Next.js, this will look very familiar to you. If you're not, this is really not a tutorial on Gatsby. We're just going to use it. I just want to get you to where you can work with the GreenSock in a Gatsby site. But these are your pages. Obviously, you got your home page, your second one. We're not going to see the error page. These are the components that make up what you're seeing on this page. There's a header component. There's an H1. There's paragraph. There's an image. There's a link to go back and forth. If you just know HTML and CSS, this should look extremely familiar to you. There's an H1. There's a paragraph. And I'm sure if you were looking at this, you could kind of guess that link is that link. That's how you put a link on a page. There's an image component. We won't really get into that, but this is what you have. Unfortunately, you could keep all this because it is a great resource as far as an example of how to use Gatsby image, which again will mean nothing to you, and we're not going to use it. But if you don't know Gatsby and you want to learn Gatsby, I would just keep all this. And if you want to just follow along, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this whole components folder. I'm going to also delete the 404, which is your error page, just to clean it up so it's easier for you guys to see what's going on. And I'm going to delete that second page. Now, we deleted the whole components folder. We are going to need it. Actually, I'm acting like you guys have used this before. If you haven't, up here, this is how you create a new file. This is how you create a new folder. Under our sources, we're going to need a components folder. So you're going to click on new folder and just name it components. If yours doesn't look exactly like this, it's because I have a couple of extensions, so we might as well go over and get them before we get started, just so you understand. You want go under extensions. Up here you can just type these in, material icon theme, and click install. That will install this. That way it will label all your different folders and files. ES7, React, Redux, GraphQL, start typing that in. That will pop up. That's snippets. That's going to save you a lot of typing. Maybe not during this, but in the future. And this one, simple React snippets. You type that in, get that extension. And yeah, we're going to use this. We'll grab style components. It makes it easier to style our CSS locally. So you can put in VS Code style components, put that in. So you should get 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can live without the rest of them. 4. I mean, you could do HTML, CSS, HTML snippets, and you could do the HTML, CSS support. You're not going to need live server because this comes with a dev server. Oh, you'll see we failed because we deleted everything that it was fired up on. So if you just hit Command C, hit yes, and you can just restart it. Just want to make sure everything we deleted is no longer here. It's looking for it, so it was kicking us an error saying, well, hey, wait a minute, guys, there is no layout component. There is no SEO component. Gatsby is really finicky as far as what's not there. So in our index page, you can delete all the things we don't have. So you can delete everything between the layout. Gatsby only returns one parent level, and we don't have layout, so we're going to use something called a React fragment, and that's what that looks like. You don't really have to understand what that is right now, but for now, let's just put an H1, and we'll just write hello so we know we're there. So again, if you have all the extensions installed, you deleted your components folder, put a new one in its place. The images we don't have to worry about, and you should have one index page in your folder. Now if you go here and run a Gatsby develop command, and of course I forget an E, won't be like me, and there you go. Of course that's from the last time. All should be well. If you see hello, you are all set to go. Anything else, just go back, take a look at it. As long as you have Node, Visual Studio, Gatsby, and as far as where we want to start, is where we want to start with absolutely nothing except for a skeleton of a functional component.